Good Monday makers and happy 4th of July. Hope everybody's doing well, staying hydrated. It's hot out there, but hope everybody's staying safe and doing well today. Got a few people in the chat. Hey, Kevin, happy 4th, everybody, he says. Happy 4th to you guys. Steve and Axel also in the community in the comments. Good to have everybody here. I'm excited to look at some builds. If you don't know, this is our second week in a row doing MakerPipe Monday live. We usually sit at this desk and record MakerPipe Mondays, but we figured if we're already sitting here, we might as well do it live, and you guys can ask questions. I've also got some mini connectors here. If there's anything that you guys want to see built with the mini models as we're going through them, definitely let us know in the chat, and we can do some mini modeling as well. But we've got some really great builds today. We're going to be looking at a few kayak builds, and we've got some gardening builds. So there's some really great ones that we're going to be checking out. I'm really excited. So I think without further ado, let's just jump in and check them out. First up, I'm actually on the wrong screen. Let's see. First up is a build from Axel. He's got a YouTube channel, Axemaniac. He posts all kinds of great kayaking content. Definitely check out his YouTube channel. It'll be linked down below. But he's got all kinds of great videos. And most recently, he posted this video just a few days ago. He's got this new kayak. And I'm glad he's here because I wanted to ask about this rail system here, if that's something that comes on all kayaks or if that's something you add in. But we can see here that he's got this kayak and he's got this mounting system that he's using some flanges that are actually made for this mounting system, and it's attached there. And what he's done is he's created a standing cast bar, it's called. So you can imagine if you're standing and you're fishing off of this kayak, if you're like me and you don't have the best of balance, you want something to grab onto as you're slinging the cast. So that's what he's done here. He's used some fittings that are actually made for kayaks, and I think they're called Bimini fittings. And we can see here at the beginning of the video, he shared kind of some different parts and everything that he was using. And I think he's got a part list down here in the description as well. Oh yeah, there's links to all the Bimini fittings and everything. But he's making this cast bar that is attached, as we can see here. He's using a couple of those flanges that exist for that mount system, and then I think he uses MakerPipe here at the top. I think just a few feet from the bottom, maybe just or from the top, maybe just a few inches. We can see here he's using just 2 T connectors, and he's got a crossbar that goes from side to side. And I think he's using shrink wrap there as just kind of like something textured to grab onto, which is a great touch, nice addition. Just have something there that you can grab onto whenever you're standing up. But just a really simple build. It's just 2 connectors from MakerPipe, and then he's got a few of those Bimini connectors. And again, they're all linked in the description of his video. Definitely check that out. Thanks, Axel, for sharing that video. Really awesome to see. And he said in the chat, looks like rails come on some kayaks. So I guess it's not every kayak, but seems like a great thing to be able to add some different accessories. I would imagine there's other things besides just the cast bar that you could attach to that. So that's really cool. I wonder if I think Steve also has done some posts as well on kayak fishing, but do people ever build like sunshades off of that? So they have the rails and then they just kind of build off of that and add the sunshade. I could see that being useful. I don't know. But we've got a couple of fishermen in the chat, so maybe we can find out the inside scoop. But anyway, that's a great build from Axel. Again, check out the description if you want to see some of the different Bimini connectors and things that he used. Next up is a build from Jennifer, and this is a sun sail shade support using MakerPipe. And she said that their deck is about 25 feet off the ground, so they had to come up with some kind of a clever solution to be able to securely attach it. And what they've done is actually drilled through the boards on their deck and basically just run the conduit down through the boards. And then you can see here they've got these, I think they said 8x8, but anyway, they're just these beams that are going up, and they've attached the conduit, probably using 2-hole straps, something like that, to secure it. And they've just got 4 verticals. And yeah, you can see down there, that bottom beam that's vertically, you can see how the conduit is just attached there. They've got that all the way around, and then we can see here in the corners, they've got 4 of these in the corner, and then they're basically just creating the rectangle using T connectors. And it looks like there's some 45-degree bracing as well, which is a smart thing to do just to add some extra bracing. And it looks like the same design in all 4 corners. And then I think there's also looks like an eye hook maybe drilled into the conduit there. And then there's a sail shade. I think that's just a carabiner or one of those, I forget what they're called, but it's basically just the piece of hardware you can get, and it's got 2 hooks coming out of it, and then you can loosen it on either side. I forget what they're called, but some kind of buckle. But anyway, I think there's just an eye hook there attached in the conduit, and that's how the sail shade is attached. And then we can see, they said last week that they were getting calls for rain. I know down here in South Carolina we've had some crazy rainstorms over the last week, but they said they weren't expecting to get a full-on rainstorm. They were just expecting just a little bit, so they didn't really do anything. They said they might have taken down the sail shade, but instead of just that small rainstorm, this is actually what came through here. They said up to 70 mile-an-hour winds and heavy rain, and they said they got about 1.5 inches total rain, and they said that the sunshade held up and the frame was fine. It sounds like it's really coming down, but that's really awesome to see that the frame did well and that the sunshade survived. So that's really awesome. Thanks so much, Jennifer, for sharing that build. Really good job. Looks like Axel said you can use the adjustable angled for the supports. Bimini's are shade tops for boats as well. Yeah, MP angles for the angled cross supports. Yeah, I think he's talking about these here. You could use the adjustable angle connectors there as well. But I think he said he already had some of these laying around, so if you've already got them, why not utilize them? Is the whole thing conduit, Axel, or is it just this cross piece? Because it looks like the maker pipe is, I can't tell if the friction band is on there, but maybe it's just a similar diameter pipe, or if it's all conduit, that's cool too. But yeah, he's saying you could use the adjustable angled connectors there instead of those Bimini ones if you want. But yeah, really great build from Jennifer. Thanks so much for sharing that. Get some water here. I usually have a co-host, and we can take turns talking and exchange or get drinks while the other person's talking. But anyway, next up is a build from Jolly Gardens. This is kind of a sneak peek of a progress pic, or a video, I guess, of where it's at now. And you can see that tomatoes are really loving it. But on YouTube, on their YouTube channel, Jolly Gardens, if I can find it here, it'll be linked down below, but their YouTube channel, Jolly Gardens, they did a full-length tutorial and did a complete step-by-step breakdown of how to build just a simple trellis system. Looks like it uses 4 90-degree connectors and 2 4-way connectors, and they basically just built this trellis system that attaches to the raised garden beds. And I think they used 1-hole straps to secure, yeah, actually 2-hole straps we can see here, to attach the vertical poles there to the raised garden bed. But it's just a really great trellis design, and if you're looking to do something similar to this is a great video to kind of just get a full breakdown of how much conduit you need and that kind of thing. And what's really cool about these trellis designs is up to a certain point that they're pretty much universal. You know, you could customize this and just keep going pretty much indefinitely as long as you add a vertical support every few feet. So we can see here that just on the outside, if you use 90-degree connectors, as they did here on the outside of the trellis, you know, you could do that same design on a rectangle trellis, and then basically every few feet that you want to add some kind of support, you could just use the 4-way connector and basically just keep adding those every few feet. So, you know, it's like I said, kind of a universal thing, because you could just keep going pretty much indefinitely. You know, most people don't have 200-foot long raised garden beds, but if you do, you could basically do that and then add a support pipe every few feet that goes from side to side. And it also adds 2 vertical supports. So really great design and a really great video from them. Appreciate them sharing that. Really awesome. Definitely check out the link below if you want to do something similar. Thanks so much, guys, for sharing that. Axel said all conduit for the cast bar, so that's really cool. Next up is a build from Mike, and this is another kayak build, and this is a bit different. You can see, I think he actually has, this is from Mike, he's got a cast bar as well, but I'm not sure if that's all conduit or not, but I can see there are 45-degree connectors that are kind of bracing the bar. And it looks like maybe that's, I don't know if that's already attached to his kayak or if it's something he added, if that's all conduit. But we can see that he's got these flanges that looks like they're made specifically for the kayak, and he's basically just bracing off of those with the 45-degree connectors. And then on the back, he's got this kind of storage rack, I guess you'd call it. So it looks like there's some kind of a grab handle back here already attached to the conduit. And he used some kind of mount that's made specifically for that, I would imagine. Built off of that and used bent conduit here to go up and created this kind of storage rack, and it sits over top of this motor in the back. And then he's got looks like just a shelf made from wood there. And then he's also got 2 fishing pole holders, one for each of these vertical supports. And also, he's got a milk crate that he drilled a hole through, it looks like, and basically just ran conduit through the milk crate, which is a great thing if you've got any of those laying around. If not, you can find them on Facebook Marketplace. They're really cheap, and they're great for, different kinds of storage things. And he's just got one. And I would imagine you can just kind of grab that and hinge it if you want to. I don't see another pipe going through the front. Excuse me. So maybe he's just using it as kind of like a hinged, basket that you could easily just raise up and lower. I'm not entirely sure, but it's a really smart way to do it. Just, drill that hole in there and then run the conduit through it. But this is a really great storage build, and we can see it looks great on the kayak. And it looks like it's really useful for storing all sorts of things and even holding on some fishing poles. So that's really awesome. Cool to see another kayak build from Mike. Thanks so much for sharing that. Next up is a build from Don. He sent this through email, and we shared it in the community. This is really interesting. This is a rack to support this weed eater. And when I first saw this, I guess I just saw the handles there, and I was like, he made a weed eater turret for his lawnmower kind of thing that you could just kind of hold on top and steer it and move it around and weed eat. But actually, it's just a rack just to kind of hold it and stabilize it. If you have a lawnmower, riding lawnmower, and you have a weed eater and you're trying to move around the yard, you understand the frustration of trying to hold on to it or have it long ways across your lap, or you put it at your feet, different things. So he made this rack to just kind of hold it up that he could use while he's riding around on the lawnmower. And basically, it looks like there's a pipe that goes across the kind of where your feet go on the lawnmower, and it's just attached. I think 1-hole straps maybe going into the bed. And he's got some conduit going up, 45-degree connectors. And I think the same kind of design, we can kind of see a hint back there, the same design going all the way around. And that just created this initial base. And then from there, he's got some pipes going up, and then he's using 45-degree connectors to kind of add a support kind of rack. I don't know if you remember whenever we built the coffee cup stand, but basically just adding that brace. Here's a good visual of it. But he did the same thing back here twice, and that just allows the bar from the weed eater to just kind of rest down in that angled support and just gives it somewhere to sit. And he's got the same thing up here. It looks like he's using a flange connector just drilled into the mower, and he's got that bolted in there, and then he's got just a vertical support pipe with a 45-degree coming off of it. And it just created this rack that allows him to easily, have his weed eater kind of out of the way, and just, makes it easy to haul around the yard. Because, if you get way out there in the yard and then you have to go get the weed eater and walk all the way back and then, do that several times, or leave it where you just were and then go to the next place, it can be, time consuming and just kind of frustrating. So really great idea, and looks like a great execution of the idea, and it's just a really good build overall. Thanks so much, Don, for sharing that. That's a really smart build. Next up is another trellis, and this is from Zach. This is, you can see 1, 2, 3 raised garden beds, and this is a similar design to what we saw with Jolly Gardens earlier, how it just has the 90-degree connectors in the corners, and then it's got the 4-way connectors every few feet. And we can see here they did this twice. So as I was saying, it's kind of a universal design where you could just keep going. They kind of did that. So there's 2 4-way connectors instead of just the one in the middle. And they have this probably 8 or 12-foot garden bed. And what's another interesting thing about this is the fact they did the same design around the bottom as well to kind of, I believe the trellis sits on top of the boards, kind of flush with the boards, which is a really interesting way to do that. Maybe the verticals go down into the soil or go down into the boards there. Not entirely sure. We can't see. I think Zach's going to send us some more photos, but as of right now, I'm not 100% sure how it's attached. I think probably just 2-hole straps or 1-hole straps. But what's really cool also is the fact that it looks like he bent pipes to go over the top, kind of made this arched roof. And I think there's some couplings or some of the electrical couplings you can get off the shelf there, and then created this arched roof. And he's got the cattle panels that are just running from looks like from the side all the way around the top, kind of arched over the roof and then attached to the side, which is, a really great way to do trellis netting, just because it's really strong. And I think even though they're kind of a stiff fencing material, they're I think they're pretty easily bent, and once you kind of get it flexed in that position, it should stay there because I think it's on the inside of the pipe. And I think cattle panels are kind of underutilized in the community. We've seen quite a few people use them, but they're a really great material for just making a strong trellis net. So it's really cool to see them incorporated here. And he's got all silver connectors, silver conduit, the silver cattle panels. Looks really awesome. That's a great trellis from Zach. Thanks so much for sharing that. And that's all the builds I had planned for today. Went through them kind of fast, but does anybody have any questions? Definitely leave them down below. If you have any questions, like I said, we can do a mini model of any of the builds, or we can just kind of go shopping and check out some things. I am curious if how much cattle panels are. Let's see here. See if we can find some 16 foot by 50 inch cattle panel. $33.99 for 16 foot by 50 inches. That doesn't seem too crazy. I guess 16 by just a little over 4 foot. I mean, here in Zach's build, that's probably close to 16 foot. So maybe he has something similar, and he just did one 16-foot panel. 'Cause I would say that's pretty close to over 4 foot long per arch, and then basically attached there. 1 or 2 per garden bed, so 6 in total. It's not too bad. It makes a great material, and it's really good material for doing enclosures as well. I mean, it's meant to be, as you can see, a cattle enclosure kind of fence. So it would make a good enclosure material as well. I guess it depends on the animal as well, because these holes are kind of small. So if you have a smaller animal you're trying to keep inside, it may not be good for an enclosure material. Or if you're trying to keep animals out, because have some small animals try to get in there. But anyway, those are cattle panels, a really great material. And if you get a lot of them, you get a bulk discount. Well, you have to buy 25 or more. So, but it's a great material, and a great thing to use in your builds. But yeah, that's really all the builds I had planned for you. Hope everybody has happy 4th. We'll cut the stream. I know it's kind of a shorter stream, but everybody's out doing some 4th of July celebration, and I know I'm going to be going to watch some fireworks soon. But hope everybody stays safe, stay cool, stay hydrated, and just enjoy some time with your family. But thanks everybody for coming by and stopping in for the live stream. We'll see you in the next video.